jazzing up your day with a touch of soul. The Living Room on 938 Live.
Welcome into the Living Room on 938 Live. And if your kid's just done the PSLE, heave a big sigh of relief. The grades are out, the results are in, they're off to secondary school, you're relaxing, it's the school halls. Might be time to think about doing some prep work, because I remember it was a long time ago, so vaguely I remember what it was like moving from primary school to secondary school. The biggest thing was double the number of subjects that one had to do. It was just 4 in primary school, and suddenly it was 8 or 9 or some crazy number like that. But not to fear, help is on the way. Stephen Sims with us today. He's head of secondary English at Mindstretcher. Now, Mindstretcher is a premier enrichment chain in Singapore with 20 centres around the island, thousands of enrolments island-wide, and they're going to help you out. There's going to be a workshop you can take part in, along with your kid, of course, to sort of get them prepped for secondary school, for the arduous task of facing, 8, 9, 10 subjects after it was just 4 for a bit. So, Stephen, thanks for joining us today. Must be busy times. You're prepping for this particular workshop, which will last for about 4 days. I'll give you registration and ticketing details in just a bit. So tell us why it's important to prep beyond the fact that, it's from 4 subjects to 8. That's quite a mind-boggling thing. Tell us why it's important to prep a child before they head to secondary school.
Good morning, how are you? Well, I think that one of the things which some parents promise their children is that, you just need to study hard and after the PSLE you can relax. The problem is that it isn't that simple, because when students think that they have made it or they can relax after the PSLE, when it comes to secondary school they get a big shock, like because of the large number of subjects and because of the increased complexity. So
the workshops are going to help them mentally prepare.
Yeah, we give them a taste. We give them a taste of what
the
new syllabus looks like at secondary school level, so they get to see that there are some challenging aspects which they may not have come across before. There are almost no multiple choice questions at secondary school level. And that might come as
the
a shock to them.
Essay questions,
that's like essay writing and things like that.
Okay, yes, it's all coming back to me now. Quite awful. So you're saying you will give them a taster? Is it sort of like day 1 we're going to put you in what looks like a secondary 1 class? We start at 7:30 a.m.
Yeah, well, it'll be a lecture setting, so
right.
it won't really be that
simulated
rigorous. Yeah,
for you.
it won't be that simulated.
Okay.
No, no assembly, singing and things like that. No. But we will give them samples of actual exercises, and we'll show them how at Mindstretcher we actually teach them step by step, and we provide them with a scaffold, and we guide them along. Most of our kids are actually from the neighborhood, and we aim to be an enrichment chain for the masses.
Okay, so how different is the syllabus then and now? Have you had to sort of tweak your program as well over the years?
Yes. Well, I've been teaching for 16 years, both in a junior college as well as in a secondary school. And what I've seen with this new English exam syllabus is that there's a higher demand for students, that they need to demonstrate their ability to think and to structure their paragraphs and to explain themselves clearly. They used to be able to just memorize a narrative or composition and then just scrape by. But nowadays, with this new exam format, there's no longer a guarantee of narrative compo. So what we aim to do is to teach them how to write essays.
By that you mean sort of a storytelling kind of composition,
no more
right?
Storytelling. Yeah, yep. Because in the past, what happened at the JC level is that the JC teachers would get quite upset, because they'll say, okay, all these students coming in and we're going to teach you how to write essays for GP, the general paper. But the students didn't have that kind of skill level, because for most of their Sec 4 years, or Sec 3, Sec 2, Sec 1, all they've been doing was telling stories, you see. So what happens is that with this new change in the exam format, that there's a need for students to actually learn how to explain themselves clearly and logically.
So now you're saying at the secondary level,
yes,
they will be doing away with those kinds of narrative compositions.
Yeah, because there's no longer a guarantee of a narrative question. It might still turn out that way, but there's no longer a guarantee. So,
But you're seeing more of different types of
yes, they really need to
essays
learn
that
how
they need
to
to
write
write.
essays. And
For example, opinion-based ones.
opinion-based, something like which features of Singapore and its citizens make it a major tourist attraction for people from all over the world. Now that's an actual O-level question.
Wow.
It's no longer just about features of Singapore, it's Singapore and its citizens. So that means that the students really need to be able to have that body of knowledge, and then they need to be able to
Break
write-
down the
Yeah,
question and
that's
figure
right.
out what it's asking of
That's
them.
right, yeah.
Whoa. Okay, so Stephen Sim is with us today to help us break it down as we scratch our heads. Head of Secondary English at Mind Stretcher. There's a workshop that they're organizing. It's priced at $200 per kid for 4 days, 4 hours a day, from the 15th to the 18th of December. I'll give you ticketing details and registration details in a bit. Stay with us on The Living Room, 938 Live.
The Living Room on 938 Live. Time now to rejoin The Living Room on 938 Live.
Thanks for staying with us on The Living Room on 938 Live, and we're speaking to parents who have their kids who are sitting pretty with their very good PSLE results and thinking, oh yay, going to my favorite secondary school and having a whale of a time. Might be time to sort of maybe get prepped for a harder workload, a bigger workload, more subjects to think about, and how the curriculum is changing a wee bit and asking you to be, I don't know, more able to decipher complex questions. And I say this with fear. All of a sudden, all this school stuff is bringing me back to the time when I was in school as well. So with us is Stephen Sim, who's head of secondary English at Mind Stretcher. Now, Mind Stretcher are organizing a workshop for your kid at $200 a child for 4 days from the 15th to the 18th of December to get them prepped for secondary school. Must it be these 12-year-olds, though, Stephen, for this particular workshop?
Well,
You know, we have this reputation, right, being a bit kiasu. Perhaps
not,
parents
not at
of-
all. Not at all. We don't pressurize the kids. We actually help them and enable them to do well.
Is there an age limit, though? Can, say, a primary 5 student during school holidays, why not his parents have decided, get a head start?
Well, I suppose they could come next year.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, don't pressure your kid when they're
Yeah.
just 10 or 11. So tell us a bit more about how they can benefit from the workshop. We talked about how the English curriculum's changed, and we also talked about how, you know what, English sort of seeps into all the other subjects as well. Maths needs English, everything's conducted in English, so a good grasp of the language is really important. What can they expect at the workshop?
When they attend this workshop, the students will get a taste of what they can expect in secondary school. They'll see how the new English syllabus demands that they write persuasively, because at the secondary school level, they'll be required to write essays rather than narrative compositions. So they'll need to be able to organize their thoughts and structure their paragraphs clearly. Secondly, they'll experience the new comprehension format for the first time. I can tell you it isn't easy because they'll be asked to discuss things such as intention and effect. For example, an actual O-level question would be something like, what idea is the photograph trying to establish?
Do they give you the photograph?
Yeah, they give you a photograph and then they say, so what idea is the photograph trying to establish? So you can imagine if you've just come from a primary school, how are you going to be able to answer that?
Yeah, beyond saying, oh, maybe the photograph was pretty, or beyond
Yeah,
describing
that's right.
the photograph.
That's right.
Ah, okay. So what if a kid already has a good grasp of the language? Will they still be sort of a bit thrown off,
Yeah,
kilter,
because
when they
this
get to
demands
secondary
higher
school?
thinking skills, right? It's actually talking about intention and effect rather than meaning. Yeah, so
But that's also interpretive.
yes, that's right. So that's what secondary school is all about. It's about developing the thinking skills and how language is tied in with thinking. And so that's very important that the students come for this workshop so that they have a head start. No?
As a basic idea, what are some of the requirements kids should have before they head into secondary school? Some of the skills you might be imparting to them at the workshop.
Well, I'm sure that they've been well drilled by their primary school teachers and they know all about spelling and grammar and vocabulary. So during these holidays, they should continue to read widely. An important thing for them to possess is to have a good body of knowledge for general knowledge, so that when they write their essays, they sound reasonable, you know. They want to be able to make claims which aren't just sweeping generalizations.
Or sort of pulling ideas out of
Yeah,
thin
that's
air,
right,
right? Yeah. So what can one do besides reading a whole lot? Sounds like the holiday's gone.
Well, reading a whole lot is a very good thing. You know, rather than just wait for the movie adaptation to come out, when you read, you actually get to imagine and see all these special effects in your mind. And the other thing reading is useful at is developing empathy. You know, you get to feel for the characters. And the third thing which reading really develops is this thing about self-learning, so that we don't actually have to wait for information to come to us, but if we are interested in something, we'll go out and learn about it.
So it's really important to attend this workshop because you guys will really help kids out before they
Yeah.
head to secondary school.
That's right.
What other sort of skills might they pick up during those 4 days?
Okay, we'll also have a section on mathematics. We have a very experienced
Which might not be your
ex-subject
forte
head
if
from
it's like
RGS
your-
will be teaching mathematics. And then, of course, we also have one of our co-founders, Elvin, who will be teaching students how to handle the stress as well as project
so stress
work.
management,
Yeah, that's
right. And project work, I remember
Yes.
those, not so fondly, but okay, something that needs to be looked at as well. So what would be your last word of encouragement as kids who might not be able to attend the workshop are heading off into the wild blue yonder of secondary school?
Well, I'll say that it's an exciting time and it's probably the best time of their life, so make the most use of it.
That's what everyone says, right? Mr. Stephen Sim is head of secondary English at Mind Stretcher. Now, Mind Stretcher are organizing a workshop for 4 days for kids who are 12, just after
That's right.
PSLE, right? Heading to secondary school. On the 15th to the 18th of December, you're going to learn things like study techniques, how to tackle project work, manage your stress, presentation skills even, newspaper skill, that's something that's interesting. And also you want to head to our website to find out more, cinmsn.com/kickstart. That's XINMSN.com/kickstart. The workshop is 4 days, 4 hours per day from the 15th to the 18th of December. It's only $200 a child. And thank you, Mr. Stephen Sim again, who's head of secondary English at Mind Stretcher, for joining us today. Stephen, thank you so much.
Thank you, Holly.